work and your day-to-day, what does that really look like?
Most of our work is psychoeducation within the community. It's important to get men rallied together, get families rallied behind the men, because one of our realizations that the biggest number of people we lost in the mental health fight were men. About 80% of the men who die, or the people who died due to mental health, are men and not the other gender, yes. And it's important to work with them on a daily. We find them in their workspaces where they have small organizations. Those who are in the mechanics organize themselves into groups, and we're able to meet them in such places and have conversations that impact their mental health at the work level, but also beyond the work level, even in their homes.
And what are the things that you found out from men at that work level? What are the things they're dealing with outside of the economic pressures? Because I find that when we're talking about mental health in men, immediately somebody starts talking economic pressures. What are the things that you've discovered while you're working with them?
One of the greatest things they struggle with is culture. Culture holds men at a certain pedestal, which isn't fair. It requires them to be bold, to man up at every angle and not speak up. And that has been the greatest struggle for men to come out and embrace initiatives that help them deal with their mental health.
So culturally, so you're saying that the cultural norms that men should not speak up, men should not cry, men should just, take a bull by its horn. That's a problem?
Yes, that's a problem. But also cultural norms such as mental health is, most cases, a thing that is turned into a spiritual thing rather than a health issue. We tend to explain it away when someone has a struggle, and we say they're being bewitched. When they're having a struggle and they've had a breakdown, they say they've been cursed, rather than saying the person is going through an actual struggle that needs help, that needs support.
Now, before we get to those struggles and the help that they need, there's trauma involved as well. What are the traumas that you are seeing among the men that could trigger any form of mental disorder?
Society is breaking down as a whole. So one of the greatest contributors for the trauma for men has been domestic violence. It's underreported that men are actually being battered in their homes. Men are actually being abused psychologically. They're being emasculated by their partners. And it's a struggle. You find a man not identifying himself as how he should know himself, but he tries to identify himself based on the standard that has been set by another person, not by themselves.
Now, what about within the families when it comes to the children, maybe the wife or multiple girlfriends, some of them, or multiple women all around? What are those struggles like within the family setting for men? Because you just mentioned a very big one there when you talk about gender-based violence now towards men. Could you talk about the family setting?
The family setup is mainly out of pursuit of identity. Some of the crises we've seen rising up of men having multiple partners, they're trying to fill a gap of an identity, knowing that this is who I am and I am valued in a particular space. And you find them falling into a trap where they are living life larger than they ought to live it, trying to juggle a number of things. And that alone contributes to the mental stress that they experience as men within the family setting. And also, society hasn't been kind in telling them that it's okay to say, I am struggling and I need help. It's expected of a man to carry his weight at any given time. And even when he struggles, he is not dealt with kindness when he says, I am not doing well, I need support.
From your perspective, what do you mean by struggles? What are you actually saying? From what you see at the community level, what are the real struggles that men are actually going through?
Men are not equal.
Okay.
The presumption that we are weighed against another man gives us the first struggle.
So the comparison?
The comparison gives us a struggle. A married man is going to struggle in comparison with his father-in-law because his wife is going to look at him, but my father did this. So men are struggling because people are constantly putting them on a scale that they didn't bargain for. You're not looking at a man in his complete individuality to be able to identify him, to be able to identify his strengths and work with them. So you compare him with someone else, and that alone puts pressure on the mind, puts pressure on their mental well-being.
I'm curious to find out whose fault is that, in a sense. Is it because there was a lack of emotional stability and support in teaching the men how to handle situations like that emotionally?
Yes. ideally, we have to shift the blame to, at the time when the advocacy for women came on, it was important. We can't belittle what was done, because at that point it was important for us to champion it. But we did it at the expense of the other gender. And even now, when we are talking to them, we don't leave the women behind. We want to build at the same time. We can't undo what has been done, but we can build up the men alongside the women. We get them involved, because a man does not exist as an island. He has a wife, he has sisters, he has mothers. And those are people we bring upon the platform to have these discussions in order to support men and get them better.
What kind of support do the men actually need? Because I think generally as human beings, yes, of course, we'd need support generally, mentally, emotionally, and so on. But are there specific kind of support that men need that perhaps that we don't know about?
Fundamentally, men need to be given a voice.
Is a voice given, or?
Yes, it is given if it had been taken away. So society has society has tried to define masculinity and redefined it over and over again, and the goalpost of masculinity keeps shifting. So we want to get to a place where we can give them a platform for men themselves to define for us what masculinity is, so that we move away from the danger of having people promote what we call toxic masculinity as masculinity. But can men in their different communities come out and help us define what it is at any given place? Because I'll give an example with the mixtures we have here in Uganda. The masculinity of a Muchega man probably is different from the masculinity of a Mugisu man.
Mental health is often discussed when a crisis becomes visible. But long before that point, many people are carrying burdens that go unseen. For men, those struggles are often hidden behind responsibility, routine, and the expectation to remain strong. And perhaps the challenge before us is not only creating support systems, but creating a culture where asking for help is no longer seen as a failure. With nearly 1 in 4 adults estimated to be living with a mental health condition. Yet, for many men, conversations around depression, trauma, addiction, loneliness, and emotional distress remain difficult to have openly. Today, we ask a simple but uncomfortable question. Are men suffering in silence, and are we paying attention too late? I'm Victoria Sabatsani, and this is Impact Uganda. Jimmy, I'd love for you to tell me about your journey with your mental health. Maybe you can start off with, if you're comfortable to share, where your traumas started and leading up to you becoming the man that you are now.
It all started from the time when I was still in high school. And I come from a dysfunctional family. That I was raised by a single mother. So all the time I was left behind. In my mind, it's only one thing that's stuck in my mind. I'm a rejection in family. So being taken to school and staying in there for the entire 3 terms was something that I could not bear with. So most of the times coming back home and landing into this kind of a family that was so dysfunctional and not raised like a child is part of the issues that contributed to my addiction. And later on, I think I started abusing drugs when I was so young, around 16 years, way back in Busia, because I thought that's the only place that I feel having those heights.
Sure. So if I'm to understand you correctly, that it started off with a feeling and being rejected from a young age in a dysfunctional family, which then led to an addiction. But was that because you did not have anyone to talk to, or was it the easiest way to escape?
Because of the misunderstandings with family, both from my dad and my mom, him being a husband of 7 women, he could barely have enough time for the children. And, issues with her having a husband who's not in the picture, all the misunderstandings they had was turned into the kids. So most of the time, we're left alone. Do whatsoever we could do. It's all about waking up, find yourself what to feed on, and then it's all about coming back and having rest home. Yeah.
So tell me then about your transformation, because I'm standing before a very different man, a transformed man, not the young boy who struggled so much. How did your transformation come about?
It all started with a family meeting. They could barely control me, and all they would communicate around was send him out of home. So this is one of my sisters, the elder sister, comes to me and talks to me, trying to let me understand that whatsoever is happening to me, she is going to help me overcome this. And that's how I was introduced to Teen Challenge, Uganda. And on the 24th October, that was 2019, I remember very well, it was a Monday morning. And I got enrolled into the center until today. Yeah. And
what are some of the tools that you've had to learn on how to help yourself mentally in terms of being healthy in your mind and in your heart? What are some of the tools that you've learned over time?
Actually, at Teen Challenge, I was so much helped that they addressed the whole man to me, from the spiritual part, the soul part, to the body. That the transformation deeply comes from the inside of me. And that's the reason as to why we have the residential home. And then we have the counseling office. We usually call it the Life Renewal Office, where they do the residential, the outpatient and the inpatient part. So in there, a lot of advices, a lot of classes that I sat in that were helpful to me. And I was able to regain my broken masculinity and the shame that I had carried before. So being sat in those discipleship classes, it helped so much. And then the other part of vocation and skilling. So many of us come from a different background. And addressing our materials to the other people, addressing to me, it was so hard. Remember, before I had issues with school. I dropped out of school because I thought it was the best way to go. So them skilling me with urban farming, rearing chicken, and then teaching me other skills of cooking, it was part of the ways that could help me experience the world out there, get to know the real taste of the world out there. Yeah.
Wow. Now, as a grown man, what does mental health look like for you now? What does it mean to be mentally well?
Being mentally well means it's not all about being sober-minded. It goes beyond being sober-minded. To me, when I look at my day, in a day, as in, if I went through my devotions and then reported at my workstation earlier, and then spare time, reach out to the men out there. I reach out to the young men, I reach out to the boys at the streets in Mukono, talk to them. I don't talk to them partly because of me. I bring to them Jesus, because I believe it's the only way that man can be saved and man can be transformed. Yeah.
So you're saying to me that the things that keep you in check, that keep you with, I guess, managing stress levels, managing life, is being able to come into a place of devotion and also being able to give to other men and support other men in different ways. What advice would you have then for young men who are perhaps like you right now, that are struggling with their identity, struggling with feeling rejected, but also struggling to find out who they are? What advice would you have for them?
The only advice I could say is mental health is real, and there's help out there. There are people willing to help, and we as Teen Challenge, our doors are open. We usually say it out, we putting hope within reach. So to every man out there who's addicted, to every woman out there who's addicted, to every man struggling with life-controlling problems such as anger, eating disorders. So the hope is available. It's all about acceptance that we have a problem, and then hope will be given.
Too many ads? Expensive subscription? You deserve better. An artist, thousands of plays, but nothing to show for it. This ends now. Introducing Ugatunes, the new home of your favorite music on Afro Mobile. Listeners, stream your favorite songs ad-free at no cost. Artists, earn from every stream. Withdraw your royalties anytime from as low as 20,000 Uganda shillings. This is music that pays off. This is music that belongs to you. Ugatunes, your sound, your stage, your reward.
Billions are invested. Promises are made. Projects are launched. But what happens after the ribbon is cut? Are public fans delivering results? Are communities seeing the impact? Every Sunday, NBS television follows the money, audits the promises, and examines the projects shaping Uganda with facts, evidence, and voices from the ground. Fixing Uganda, auditing progress, demanding accountability.